Wow, we're finally here. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Pack Homer Podcast. I'm Cal Parker, got my two best buds, Adam Litch and Wesley Wilson with me, and we hope to bring you the best Pac-9 content available this upcoming season. We've been talking about doing it for a long time, and we're finally doing it. I think for the last couple of years, we've jumped on the phone after the game and talked for an hour, so we just decided maybe we should just do a podcast, and I don't know that anybody's going to listen to this thing, but we'll see where it goes from here. We certainly are not techies. We're learning as we go, and that's been a process in itself. But we hope to bring you the best coverage of our favorite team, the NC State Wolfpack baseball team for this season, and who knows, maybe many to come. So I'm going to get it started with a little bit of introductions, and then we'll jump into it. Wesley?
Yeah, Wesley Wilson here. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, from Magnolia, North Carolina. Graduate 2010, poultry science, NC State. Lucky to be working in the protein business, which I might add, along with produce business, is the number one industry in North Carolina. So happy to be doing that along with Cal and Adam. And like Cal said, we've had many phone calls. I think maybe 2 years we've talked about doing this podcast, and we're excited to do something that focuses on a program that I think all three of us can agree on that is the most consistent and best program at NC State.
Adam?
Like it. I'm Adam Litch. I'm also a graduate of the Cal's College of Ag and Life Sciences 2005. Like Wesley mentioned, all three of us are in the ag industry. I actually happen to live in Florida now. I've been down here since my wife and I got married in 2015. So coming up on 9 years. So still follow the pack. Still love to make a lot of games, but I definitely like watching them all. And like Wesley and Cal mentioned, we've been talking about doing this for a long time. It's kind of surreal a little bit, actually, thinking that we're recording a podcast right now. So looking forward to doing it. If nothing else, it's a chance for us to kind of express our love for the Pac-9, as Cal mentioned, and just looking forward to it. Really, I mean, it's new for all of us. None of us has ever wore a set of headphones like this or ordered microphones for our computers and stuff. So it's pretty fun though. So excited to get it going and talk about my absolute favorite team, my absolute favorite Wolfpack team for sure. So yeah, excited.
Yeah, as Adam and Wesley said, we've been talking about doing this a while. We have a Twitter account at Pack Homer Pod, and I think it's a lot older than the podcast. If you were to go and follow us on Twitter at Pack Homer Pod, you'll see that I think that thing was created back probably close to 2 years ago now, Adam, or
I think
at
November
least
2020. I think November 2022.
Yeah. So I'm Cal Parker. I'm also an NC State graduate, work in the ag industry. I'm here in Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, 2006 graduate. I do not have a ag degree. I have a political science degree. So that's a whole nother story. But before coming to the ag industry about 9 years ago, I was a high school athletic director and baseball coach for 9 years down in Eastern North Carolina. I am a baseball junkie. Still love it. I think it's the greatest game there is. I think a lot of folks now talk about how slow it is and they're changing all the rules and different things. But I just love baseball. And I think for a lot of different reasons. But it's something that, my wife's sitting on the sidelines and watching me coach for several years and then her getting into it. And I watch about every inning. She watches just as much or more than me, and usually can tell you who's in the lineup, and who's playing bad, and who's playing good. So really excited to talk about the NC State baseball team. Going to make it to as many games as I can at the Doak this year. I'm kind of fortunate. I live a little bit closer than these guys, but all three of us try to get out there quite a bit, which brings us to our next or maybe first topic of discussion. So Adam, Wesley, and I went to the Wolfpack baseball celebration in January, just a couple of weeks ago. right at the McKinnon Center in Raleigh. We got to spend some time with the team, spent some time down on the field watching batting practice, and then went over and got kind of a season preview. What did you guys think about that? What was your favorite part?
I'll
Man, I
let Adam go
really like.
first.
Yeah, I really, really like the 2021 recap that they did. I thought that was awesome that so many of the guys came back for that. I think there was um I think they said all but four guys basically from that 2021 Omaha team that were there, and just those guys talking about their experience, and then really, getting to visit with some of them before and, and during or whatever, was they were really just there to support, coach and the program. And I think that just says a lot. So the 2024 guys, obviously, they kind of had to be there, right? So, because they're part of the team now. But I think just having all those guys there, I think that just, it set the tone and it just said a whole lot. And so the event was made to honor them in a sense, talk a little bit about, the team and, and the, all they went through. Obviously, we don't have to rehash that right now, but, it meant a lot for those guys to see those guys come back and support this 2024 team, because it was an NIL event. It wasn't a bit to raise money for the future teams. Most of those guys, there's only a few handful of guys that were on that team that are still there now, but to see so many of those old teammates come back, I mean, I thought that was incredible. So I would say that kicked it off and was just awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great opportunity for fans to have up close and a view of the 2024 team. Um, you know, watching BP Pennington's exit velo off the bat was something that was a little different than watching a normal BP. So excited to see what's going to happen there. And then as far as the 21 team goes. I know it goes without saying that we all feel like we should have brought the natty home that year. And sentimentally to me, I had my nephew with me in Omaha for those games, and whether we won that, one on paper or not, it was a special experience for the fans and for those players. And for us personally, Pack Homer podcast, we purchased a table in support of the group, and we had Johnny Butler at our table. And hearing some of the more personal stories from Johnny was really special. And the Savage Wolves, or the one pack NIL, or I think I'm just going to refer to it as a collective, maybe on our podcast. They did a great job of facilitating that in a short order of time. And man, I never saw a final number, but several hundred people there were there for sure. And that's exciting to see that the support and excitement around the 24 team. And that's something maybe we'll touch on this podcast or maybe another, but NIL is definitely something that is going to be a big part of the program moving forward.
Yeah, definitely want to talk about NIL, and I'll piggyback on what you guys said, and especially, like I mentioned, as a former coach, one of the things that really stuck out to me is how much those guys love Elliott Avent. And I think any coach that is in this business for a long time, or in the coach's box or dugout for as long as he's been, to see that many guys come back, and players that were not on the 2021 team, guys that played at NC State 20 years ago were there, and to see those guys come back and support Elliott Avent. And then on top of that, how much Elliott Avent loves our program. I think that
Yeah.
it's always easy to be an armchair quarterback. I mean, I can tell you on some of our calls, hopefully it's all sunshine this year, but I can tell you that on some of our conversations after some games, we've been critical of every coach in America, ours included. So, that's just comes with the territory. But to see how many of those guys are just so they just love and respect Coach Avent was pretty special to see. And then his love for our university. Also, along with what Wesley was saying. So we had Patty Barrels, Patrick Bailey, and Johnny Barrels, Johnny Butler at our
Johnny
table, and
Barrels
I had my.
and Patty Barrels. That was awesome.
That's right. Johnny said he didn't get to be Barrels until Patrick was out of the way, but my son was with me. He's 12 years old, and the way they treated him there was pretty special. He's probably a little more popular than we are, walking around with his Sharpie and a few pictures to put up in his room. So it was really cool to interact with those guys. My favorite thing that was said all night was Austin Murr during the cocktail hour. If you guys remember, Jose Torres launching one at in Fayetteville, Arkansas, to send us to the College World Series. Really, well, before Evan Justice closed the door on him, he said, "I said, we were all screaming, 'Call the cops!' when Torres hit that bomb off Kevin Kopps," and Austin Murr said they called the cops, but justice was served. So I'll probably remember that forever. But getting back to the NIL thing that I did want to talk about, because that's what the event was for. I before I transferred to NC State, I always tell people I didn't play college baseball, but I watched in uniform. My freshman year of college, I was on a college baseball team. I watched a lot. I think maybe I got maybe a one at bat to get in the book so that no one can call me a liar. But I do know as a former athlete that baseball is unlike football and basketball. And in the fact there's 11.7 scholarships, and Coach Avent did a really good job of harping on this. We've got over 35 guys on our roster, and most all of them are paying to wear our uniform. And Coach Avent and you guys
They're
can add on, but
paying.
yeah, they're paying. They're paying to
Yeah,
wear our uniform
yeah,
because there's only
exactly.
11.7 scholarships. So they're paying to go to school. Some of these guys from Florida are paying out of state tuition, or Virginia or wherever it may be. They're paying out of state tuition to be on our team. And I think he told Coach Hart he was sorry for saying this, but he said, I don't ever have any aspirations of our guys driving Maseratis or Lamborghinis up to Doak Field. He said, but I would like to get to the point that our guys are all their tuition and room and board is covered, because the big three, not to disparage any sport, but you talk about baseball, football, basketball. Baseball is the only one who has guys that are in the starting lineup every night that are paying tuition and room and board to wear a uniform. And we do need to do some things with NIL. I think that one of the things we talked about when we started this podcast, we have no aspirations of making any money off of this. I don't think that it would be very lucrative for us. We better stick to our day jobs. But any advertising money that we're able to bring in, we plan to just give it all back to the NIL program, because to support those athletes that are getting up and going to the field and going and putting in work every day, can't have a job, and are paying their way.
And I think I speak for all of us a little bit. When NIL first rolled out, when the NCAA, or when the courts, I guess, essentially made the decision, and the NCAA since hasn't really acted on it. I think all of us were real skeptical, right? Like, um, and probably not even skeptical is the right word. Probably against it is the right word, And I know I was when, I was first thinking, not really understanding how it would work, because you see these things, these dollar figures that are floating out there. I think even like on a couple of the recruiting sites for football and stuff, they have an NIL value associated with different, basketball and football players. But when you think about what that really means to the baseball program, especially at NC State, where we've had a lot of success, and quite honestly, limited facilities, and to think like what Cal said, our kids are paying to wear that uniform, and you start thinking about NIL in that regard and what it really means to those guys. And again, it's lifting that burden off their family, and really, um, you know, letting them have the opportunity to practice more, and focus on the sport, and their schooling, and rather than trying to make ends meet, if you will, or for the, take a lot of stress off their family. So I think NIL for baseball is just something that's so different. You look at schools like Vandy, who has always kind of provided these athletic dollars, that you hear is the reason why they recruited at a high level. And I think that it's just real important. And I think, like Coach Avent said, he's really just looking to get these guys, basically on scholarship, if you will. And that's not near the reach that, some of these dollar figures that you hear about, keeping, certain football players and things like that. So, and obviously it's a different animal, but I think, even if you're someone who has, is hesitant about joining one of these collectives, if you will, you can go now on one pack and select by sport. I think we've all done that, signed up for a monthly membership, and you can select that you want to support baseball. You can select that you want to support women's basketball. You don't have to not know where your money's going. And that money really does mean a lot for baseball. So, and I guess I hadn't thought about that. Um, Quite so much until hearing Coach Avent on stage saying that, and you could just hear what the passion that he speaks of, and he's in the same boat as us, right? He was hesitant to kind of wrap his arms around it and what it could mean, and then somebody really explained it to him. Hey, this is how your guys could not have to live off campus and or not have to live at home and drive, commute in to attend 6 a.m. workouts and things like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
think
think
he told the
it's just real
story.
important.
He told the story. He didn't say a player's name, but he said we had a kid that was from about 40 minutes away that was coming in for 6 a.m. workouts, and he was hanging around. And he was like why don't you go back to your apartment or dorm? I don't even think he realized at the time the kid was commuting. It was very early in the season. Obviously, he was commuting because he didn't have the extra money to pay for room and board, and being as close as he was, he could afford to or he could commute. And so he was staying with his parents to save some money, staying at home. And after workouts were over at 6 in the morning, he would go up in the coaches' offices and lay around on the couch until it was time to go to class. And, I don't think we have many athletes at NC State doing that. And,
Yeah,
nor should they.
Yeah,
not
and I
in
mean,
today's world.
no, I mean, and for me, as Adam said, when NIL first came out, I was very turned off by the notion of athletes receiving compensation. Especially after us fans, we pay a significant amount of money, to the Booster Club and season tickets. And I think after maybe a year or two went by, and I started to change my viewpoint. And the reality of that viewpoint is, if you're thinking, okay, what's my ROI as a fan? Do you want to win? I mean, ultimately, that's what it comes down to. So from a baseball standpoint, and I don't know anyone that's going to have a bigger argument, but the talent of baseball players that would be, within 200 miles of Raleigh, whether you're thinking about, East Carolina, Virginia Tech, or Duke, or Campbell, or UNCW, all these schools, there's so much talent there. And I really think our fan base can come together, and we as we've done, as it was as we showed at the baseball celebration. So I mean, I think we have an opportunity. But if you're, as Cal said, with 11 scholarships, if you're a fan saying, okay, what's my best ROI from a program at NC State? I think that's going to be baseball. If you're gonna go to the one pack NIL website and say, where is this dollar going to be best spent at, with the lack of scholarships that are awarded to baseball, which is a whole nother podcast. That best ROI is going to go towards baseball.
Yeah, and just to be transparent, that's not an NC State thing. That is an NCAA rule that we're allowed 11.7 scholarships. And, baseball's gotten the short end of the stick on that for a very long time. And you guys, if you've watched games, you have to have a roster of 35 plus, especially when it can get pretty long there in the sixth to ninth innings where they're changing pitchers to go, left on left and right on right, or, matching up with pinch hitters. So you're carrying a pretty deep roster. And then, also for, to combat injuries and things of that nature. But you're carrying that deep roster, and you only have 11.7 scholarships to do it. So, as these guys were saying, if you were to go to onepacknil.com and make a contribution, I think that it would be very much appreciated. And I trust Coach Avent when he says that that money's not going to be going to finance Lamborghinis and 3,000 square foot houses here in the Triangle. It's going to go to help some deserving student athletes get their tuition and room and board paid. Speaking of sponsorships, we do have a sponsor. Before we had a podcast, we have one sponsor at this time. Actually, a UNC grad, a good friend of ours who wanted to support us. He said, "If you guys want to do it, I want to support you." So, if you have any tax needs whatsoever, and you want to pack your pockets with tax savings, please check out Waters and Mathis CPAs at wmcpas.com. And Waters and Mathis has been around a while. They have offices in Wilmington and in Wallace, North Carolina. And you can find them at wmcpas.com. And we will provide more sponsorship information and opportunities to anyone who would like to contribute to what we're doing. Again, that money not going to go to line our pockets. I think we would just like to use it to support the program. I don't think that we're going to.
Absolutely.
We have no ambitions of getting of starting a second job. I don't know. Maybe when we're in Omaha this year, we might need a per diem or something when June rolls around. But no, if you want to support the podcast, I can assure you that money's going to go to a good place, and it's a good opportunity. We will get your information out there, and hopefully, we at some point have enough viewers that that we're a viable sponsorship opportunity for some of you folks who support Wolfpack baseball. I think
the best quote though, Cal, was from your wife about talking about the pod and getting a sponsorship. She said, "We had a sponsorship before we had a microphone."
That's true. I still don't have my microphone. It's delayed.
That was awesome.
So getting here toward the end, just want to talk about our plans for the show and kind of how our schedule and how we kind of plan to release content. I think our plan right now is to get together on Sunday nights after the weekend series and go on a series by series basis. Before we get to that, we will have a season preview that will be episode number 2, where we will talk about the upcoming season, our roster, our schedule, what we predict in the ACC. If you look at the ACC right now, there are several teams that are ranked in D1 Baseball's preseason top 25 poll. If you followed the Wolfpack program for a long time now, you know that the ACC is always a gauntlet, and whether you're at the top of the standings or at the bottom, that everybody's got good players. And especially, on Friday nights, it doesn't matter if you're, 18-20 or, 32-2. The guy that's rolling out there on Friday nights in the ACC, those guys can usually beat anybody in the country when they have their good stuff. So we're really excited to talk about this year's team. I'm excited about this year's team too after watching them practice. I just think that we have a chance to be sneaky good. And then also, and I'll let these guys add on, we're going to have we have some committed guests to the show. I'm hesitant to say any names because I don't want you guys to be mad. Yeah, don't want you guys to be mad at us or them if they balk on us. But as I've said, I've been in the kind of in the baseball community for a while. We've both been, all three of us have been part of the Wolfpack community for a long time, and we've been fortunate enough to come in contact and to meet some pretty neat folks that are kind of excited about what we're doing. People that love Wolfpack baseball, people that have told us that they would come on the show and talk shop with us. So we're really, really looking forward to having some guests on the show, some folks that we think you will find to be entertaining and insightful. And they won't all be Wolfpack players or former Wolfpack players, or maybe even have any direct involvement with the Wolfpack program. We will have some of those, but we'll also have some baseball minds, some locals who follow sports here in the Triangle to come on and spend some time with us and talk about what we love to talk about best. You guys have anything you want to add?
I think you
No,
hit
just
it
look at.
all. Yeah, go ahead. I think you hit it all. We're excited to get started.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about the team. I think the guests that we're going to have will be fun. We'll get some stuff out there. Cal, you want to tell a little bit about what we're going to talk about in the next episode? I know you mentioned about one thing I was going to mention. You mentioned about D1 baseball and a lot of ACC teams. There's 5 North Carolina teams ranked in the D1 first preseason top 25 poll. So that's going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of good baseball coming up here soon. I think we're less than 2 weeks away now from first pitch. So it's getting excited.
Yeah, Wake Forest, preseason #1 in the country. Then you look at in the Carolinas, you have East Carolina, you have Clemson, you have North Carolina, just up the road north of us, you have UVA. I don't know who I'm missing, but we have some really good teams in our league, some really good teams in our state.
You're missing the Pirates.
The Pirates. I thought I said the Pirates, but
he got the Pirates. But you forgot a team that we won't mention by name. So
yeah.
So yeah, on episode 2, we're gonna talk about that schedule. Unfortunately, Adam is actually the only one that got the hall pass to follow the pack to Hawaii, but I think all of us have bowed out on that trip. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to it, but I could not get the hall pass. But anyway, we're going to talk about the upcoming schedule. We'll talk a little bit about that trip to Hawaii. We'll talk about the ACC, our roster. We got some exciting new names, some talented kids that Coach Avent has brought in, and looking forward to talking about that in episode 2. So with that, that is the end of episode 1 of the Pack Homer podcast. We appreciate you joining us, and we hope you will continue to follow us as we really try to go and charter into some or step into some uncharted territories, doing something that we really we're going to be learning along the way. So thanks for tuning in.